This lecture on quantitative aptitude shall be on the topic profit and loss. Let us start by understanding the theoretical concepts behind profit and loss. Now, profit and loss is the very basic concept of understanding how a business works. Let me explain it to you with the help of an example. There is a grocery store in your neighborhood. There is a grocery store in your neighborhood that sells tomatoes. Now, in order to sell tomatoes, the store first has to buy tomatoes and get them from some farmer, and only then can it sell tomatoes to somebody who comes to the shop. Now, the farmer sells his tomatoes to the grocery store at a certain price. The grocery store buys the tomatoes from the farmer at that particular price. Therefore, the tomatoes cost the grocery store something. The price at which the grocery store bought the tomatoes from the farmer is known as the cost price. Now the tomatoes are displayed in the shop and the shopper comes into the shop in order to buy the tomatoes. The shop would have a displayed price on them and the customer would buy the tomatoes from the shop at a certain price. The price at which the grocery store sells the tomatoes to a customer is known as the selling price. Let's look at the example of this sari that's being sold on Flipkart. If you look at the red box, you see several prices here. You see something called a list price of 2000, then there is another price of 449. There's a small circle that says 77% off. What is all this? Let's try and understand what these prices are exactly. The first idea is that of a list price or a marked price. Now that is a price that is marked on an item's label. In the case of the sari, the list price is 2000 rupees. On a sari that has a list price of 2000, Flipkart is offering a discount of 77% off. Discount is a reduction in price for the customer. In this case, the discount is 77% of 2000, which comes to rupees 1551. And the selling price is what the customer actually pays for this sari. The list price of this sari, the price that is marked on the label of the sari, is 2000. Flipkart is giving a discount of 77% on this particular sari. So when a customer finally goes and buys the sari, the customer pays 449. 449 then is the selling price of the sari. Therefore, selling price is always the list price minus discount. Now let us say that this grocery store has obtained a stock of really good tomatoes. The best tomatoes in town are sold at this grocery store. The grocery store knows that customers are willing to come to his store and pay a good price for tomatoes. So, he increases the selling price above the cost price and makes a profit. When the selling price is greater than the cost price, that results in a profit. Now let us say that the grocery store has a stock of tomatoes that hasn't yet sold. Unless the tomatoes are sold, they will go bad and the store will have to throw them. Hence, in order to get rid of his stock of tomatoes, the grocery store reduces the price. When the selling price of a product is lesser than the cost price, it's termed as a loss. So here we have defined the two key concepts. Profit, that happens when you sell something for a price that is higher than the price that you paid for it. And if you paid something for an object and you sell it for a price that is less than, and if the price at which you sell something is lesser than the price at which you bought it, you have a loss. Let's look at some key formulae that are important for this particular type of question in the IBPS exam. The first is the formula for profit and loss. Second is for profit percent and loss percent. Third is the formula for a cost price or a selling price. The profit is always the selling price minus cost price. and loss is cost price minus selling price. Remember that in profit, your selling price is higher, and in a loss, the cost price is higher. The second concept is that of profit percent and loss percent. Profit percent is your profit that is expressed as a percentage of the cost price. The formula for that would be profit percent equal to profit divided by cost price into 100. And similarly, loss percentage is loss divided by cost price into 100. The third formula is for cost price or selling price. In the previous two formulae, we had the cost price known and we had the selling price known and we calculated profit. Now we shall aim to back calculate. If you know the profit and you know the cost price, how to find the selling price? And if you know the profit or loss and the selling price, how to find the cost price? The cost price is equal to the selling price into 100 divided by 100 plus profit percent. And selling price is equal to cost price into 100 plus profit percent divided by 100. Let's now further look at the different types of questions that can be asked regarding profit and loss. The first kind of question that can be asked in the IBPS deals with the direct application of the formulae that we have just told you. For example, if this is a question, Raj bought a washing machine for 2000 rupees. He later sold it for 13,600 rupees. What was his loss percentage? So here you have a cost price and you have a selling price and you have to find the loss percentage. We shall use the formula for loss percentage, which is loss into 100 divided by cost price. The loss here is cost price minus sell. The loss here is cost price minus selling price, which is 20,000 minus 13,600. We substitute that in the formula and we get a loss percentage of 32%. So this is the first type of question where the data will already be given to you. You shall have to directly put it into a formula and arrive at an answer. The second kind of question will be something where the prices aren't given. For example, Rohit sells his products at a markup of 50%. He then offers his customers a discount of 30%. What is Rohit's profit percentage? Now here, you don't know the selling price, you don't know the cost price. All you are told is a markup and a discount. Now just to explain the concept of a markup is like the opposite of a discount. A markup is an increase in price that a seller would put onto his product. So essentially the list price of a product is equal to the cost price plus markup. So let's get back to the question. Here none of the prices are given. So we're free to assume price for ourselves because it's just a percentage. So let us assume that the cost price of the product is 100. Whenever there is a question involving percentages where the absolute values are not known, it's always easy to put an assumption of a value at 100 because it makes your calculations much easier as opposed to say if you assume a cost price of 156 rupees or something like that. So let us assume a cost price of rupees 100. List price is cost price plus markup. So if the markup is 50%, your list price is rupees 150. Further, the shopkeeper, that is Rohit, gives a discount of 30%. So the discount is 30% of the list price, which is 45 rupees. Therefore, the selling price is the list price minus discount or 105 rupees. His profit shall be selling price minus cost price, which is equal to 5 rupees. Since we had assumed an initial cost price of 100, this amounts to a profit percentage of 5%. Let's look at some tips and shortcuts for solving a PnL problem. First deals with the kind of problem where there are successive markups and discounts applied onto a product. For instance, a factory might be selling wristwatches at a certain price. A wholesaler would buy them for that price add a markup to it, sell it to a distributor. The distributor would add his own markup to it and then finally sell it to a retail store. So when a product goes through multiple chains in supply, each link will be adding his or her own markup to make a profit. If there are multiple markups, or similar thing can be done for discounts as well. If there are multiple markups and discounts or both added to the price of a product, then the profit percent is given by this formula. Here, R1, R2, R3 and so on up to Rn are the successive markups and discounts. N here is the total number of markups that have been added or the total number of discounts that have been added. The sign here before R, you see 1 plus or minus R1 by 100 and so on. If the sign is a plus, it means a markup or an increase in price. If the sign is a minus, it is a discount or a decrease in price. So depending on whether the change in price is due to a markup or a discount, you should have to take care to put the correct sign. So now knowing this formula is useful because you don't have to calculate for every step. Directly putting the whole thing into this formula is going to give you the answer in a quicker manner. The same formula can be used to find the loss percent as well. If you're calculating the profit percent and it turns out to be negative, it implies a loss. Let us understand this with the help of an example. We'll take the same question that we had solved, that Rohit sells his products at a markup of 50%. He then offers his customers a discount of 30%. What is Rohit's profit percent? We shall use this formula now. Now here in this question there is one markup and one discount. So we shall restrict this formula to just two terms, R1 and R2. The first step is a markup of 50%. So we shall take R1 equal to 50 and the sign as plus because it is a markup. Similarly, we take R2 equal to 30 and the sign as a minus because it is a discount. If you plug in the values into the formula, it shall look something like this: plus 50 by 100 and minus 30 by 100. Solving further, we get profit percent equal to 5%. So now you see how this formula has enabled you to quickly solve this kind of a problem and get to the profit percent. Otherwise, the traditional method of solving would involve you to assume a price, substitute it, find a markup, then find a discount, and finally arrive at a profit and then find a percentage to find a profit percentage. So this formula is a very useful shortcut. The same formula can be used for successive profits and losses as well. You must remember that the sign shall be a plus for a profit and a minus for a loss. So all in all, remember, whenever there is an increase in the price due to a markup or due to profit, the sign shall be plus. Whenever the price shall decrease because of loss or because of a discount, the sign before the rate shall be minus. The second shortcut is for questions that have one markup followed by one discount. So we can simplify that formula into something, but you must remember that this particular shortcut is limited for use only in questions where there is exactly one markup followed by exactly one discount. The formula is profit percent equal to markup minus discount minus markup into discount by 100. The same can be used for one profit followed by one loss. Remember, plus for profit and markup, minus for losses and discounts. As an exercise, try and use this formula to solve the question that we had just solved previously. This is a very useful formula, but remember always that this shortcut is only for one markup followed by one discount, or one profit followed by one loss.